Hello, slightly different video for you today. This video is sponsored by Remotech, and they've sent me over their OBSBOT Meet 4K AI-powered webcam. Now, AI-powered webcam sounds like it shouldn't mean anything, but it really does. This thing is capable of some really amazing stuff right on the camera without having to use your computer's processing power, which is pretty amazing for people like me, gaming content creators and streamers. So in this video, I'm really going to talk about why this is a good value webcam, and maybe the best value 4K webcam that you can buy right now. It's available for $199, or it's currently £159 in the UK on Amazon, and there's a link in the description below if you want to check it out. But this thing's amazing. So in the box, you first of all get the actual camera itself, and the camera is, as you can see, very, very small. It's really tiny compared to the Elgato Facecam Pro, which is what I'm currently filming this on. This is what you're seeing me on. This thing is absolutely minuscule and it doesn't weigh much. So you see there, even though it's quite small, it's got a very big lens on the top front, and then on the top it's got a button that you can program to do various things. On the bottom it's got a threaded mount that you can use if you want to attach it to a tripod or your camera stand or anything, and on the back it's got a USB-C port. I love it when products don't come with a built-in cable. It does obviously come with USB-C to USB-C cable in the box, but it means that you can use your own cable if you've got one, you need a particularly long one or a particularly short one. I really love it when devices do this. But anyway, that's what you get. That's the actual camera itself. And then also in the box is something that's kind of blown my mind, and I feel silly because it's unbelievably simple, but this thing is amazing. This is a stand, and obviously when you buy webcams you often get some kind of stand, something to kind of clip it on the back of your monitor. So the way it works is that obviously you hook that bit over the front of your monitor, and then this pushes up against the back of it, and you can adjust it, depending on the shape and size of your monitor. It should work absolutely fine. And then this little platform at the top is where the webcam goes, and you can tilt that if you want. The really amazing thing, which I have never ever seen before in a webcam stand, is that you can just boop. It is magnetic, and not only does it just go on there and you can move it around, so if say you've got it there and you want to like adjust it a little bit, you want it offset to one angle, that's really easy because it's just magnetic. It just comes on and off. But when you're tilting it, it's strong enough, the magnet, that it will still hold it, which just amazing. Magnets, how do they work? This is really incredible. This makes it so adjustable. One thing I hate with webcams that I've used before is when you can't adjust them very easily and you've got to use software to adjust them. You can't just manually move them about, because I move around a lot. I've got quite a big desk. I sit in different places all the time, depending on what controller I'm using, whether I'm using keyboard or mouse or a controller or steering wheel. I want to sit in different locations. Being able to have something as adjustable as this with the magnetic part of it, just amazing. Anyway, probably the most important thing beyond the stand is what this camera looks like when you're using it. It's got a Sony 4K sensor inside, and like I said before, lots of AI-powered fancy stuff going on. So let's have a look at it. First of all, without any software or anything like that, like what does it look like if you just plug it into the PC, load up OBS and just put it video input device? What does it look like? So this is the OBSBOT Meet 4K running without any special software or anything. I haven't downloaded anything. I haven't set anything up in particular. This is just what it looks like. I've loaded up OBS, put a video capture device, put this in, and it's working. And it looks really good. This is everything just on automatic exposure, automatic focus, and it looks great. The colors are good. It's got quite a wide angle lens. It's got quite a lot of the room in it, and it looks pretty sharp. I think that looks really good. Like I said, it's got a Sony 4K sensor, so it's got a big old sensor in there and quite a big lens. So it's getting in quite a lot of light. And so far, with all my experiments, it seems to work pretty well in a variety of lighting conditions. But now I'll show you what you can do with the software if you want to tweak things a little bit yourself. This is the OBSBOT Meet 4K running on the OBSBOT webcam software. The software, you just download it, install it, it automatically detected and updated the webcam. Super easy, no faff at all. And while everything can kind of run automatically on the camera, it's got all of this fancy AI stuff that seems to be able to deal with basically everything. If you want to tweak stuff manually, that's what this software is for. And there's a few like fun features as well in here. So let's start off with some of the cool stuff it can do. First of all, the AI auto framing. If I just turn that on and set it to close up, what this will do is try to keep my face in the sort of frame at all times. So if I move over here, it will kind of follow me a little bit. If I move backwards, it will follow me around. So this is really useful. Obviously, if you're streaming and you've got kind of a small webcam window, then this will try to keep your head in the middle of that, even if you're moving around a little bit, which I think is super useful. And again, not using any processing, not using your CPU, not using your GPU or anything like that. It's all just being done on the webcam itself. So I'm going to turn that off for now. And then obviously manually, you can control it. If you want to zoom in a little bit, you can do that. And then you can control this with a gimbal how you want it to put yourself in a frame if you want manual control, or you can just turn auto framing back on and it will decide how it wants to do it like that. If you are using the manual sort of zoom levels, you also have different settings like wide angle or medium or narrow, just some presets to make it a little bit easier. Right, just going to put that and reset it back to the beginning. There we go. With the wide angle thing, that might make it a bit easier for the next bits. Then you have some different options. You've got a HDR setting, which makes colors pop a little bit, but might make the image a little bit darker. It freezes for a second while it's running. And you can see there now I've got some slightly more vibrant colors. I think that looks really good, actually. Especially if you've got quite a bright room, the HDR setting looks really, really good. So I just turn that off and it'll freeze a little bit again. Then you have focus. So at the moment it's using autofocus, but if I want, I can turn the auto off and then choose manual focus. So say if I'm holding something up quite close to the camera and it's a bit blurry there, I can make the focus go a little bit closer until that is nice and sharp. So if you're doing a project shot, like you're doing a thumbnail or something like that, which I did for this, then that looks absolutely perfect. Then I can put that back to auto. With exposure, again, it's set to auto, and I think it's doing a really good job considering the lighting in here is weird right now. It's like stormy outside, but I've got a key light going and two big monitors in my face and some colored lighting behind me. If you want to compensate a little bit, you can leave it on auto, so it will still adjust for you if the lighting changes, but you can choose to make it a little bit brighter like this. So now it's like very nice and bright, very, very, very light in here. Or I can make it a little bit darker, and you can actually go to an extreme. Like I could put it way, way down and make it way dark if I wanted to. And this is still with auto on, or I can put it back to 0, the normal one. And then if you want to mess around with things like shutter speed, you want to increase the shutter speed, you can do things like that and make it much darker. Or, the ISO. You can change all of those settings if you want to, if you want that kind of fine tuning. There's also anti-flicker. So if you've got some lights in your background that are flickering with your power supply, you can set that to 50 Hertz or 60 Hertz if you want. And you can change the white balance. So if, say, you want it to look really warm, you can set that off auto and I can just turn it right up, make it look all cozy. Or if I want it to look like a Scandinavian drama, I can turn it right down and make it very, very cold looking in here. Or I can put that back to auto. To be honest, I'll probably just leave all of these on auto because it seems to do a very, very good job on auto, which not all webcams do, to be fair. Then you can change things like contrast, saturation, sharpness, and hue if you want to. Then there's a few more fun things, and this is something that I find super impressive. I'm going to move this out the way for a second. Background blur. And again, this is not using my GPU, not using my CPU. This is all just done on the webcam, so it will work no matter what you've plugged it into. Just turn on background blur, boop. And it's immediately added a blur to the background. Now, if I turn it up a bit, you can see it's a bit more pronounced. So what it's doing is trying to work out where the edges of me is, and then it's blurring everything else out of the picture. I find that kind of amazing that the webcam can do it. Bear in mind how tiny this webcam is. That's really, really cool. I think that's really impressive. And you can turn it up to an extreme if you didn't want anyone to see what's behind you. And obviously it's making some little mistakes here and there, but bear in mind, even if you're using a really powerful GPU and the NVIDIA software to do this, it still makes the odd mistake. This is just a tiny little webcam that's like £159 on Amazon. This just blows my mind that it's capable of this. But a more subtle blur, I think, looks a little bit better. So I can turn that off for now. There's also some beauty settings where it will try to make me look more beautiful. This is native. I think it just smoothed out my skin and made my chin a little bit smaller. Classic. Or men, which is all in capital letters for some reason. And men doesn't seem to change much about me at all. Maybe it gets rid of a few wrinkles, makes me a bit less grey looking. Obviously, it's just telling me that I'm beautiful enough already. There's a bunch of other AI things on here, like body shape. So if you're doing footage where you're standing up, you can make you look slimmer, or like your legs are longer, or your shoulders are wider or narrower. It can change the size of your head, so I can make my head look smaller. I'm not sure if I need a smaller head, but apparently that's the thing it can do. Oh, it makes the microphone wiggle a bit if I go near it. Very cool. There's also filters, you know, like on Instagram or something. So you can go through, if I just put the power up of a couple of these, you can see like that one is kind of crazy. That one makes everything pop really, really bright. And then, you know, there's a cool black and white one as well. I quite like this one. All of these are really cool. And again, all of this is just in the software, but it's being done actually on the camera. So the software is kind of controlling what the camera's doing, but the camera is doing the processing, which is amazing. There is also another setting for virtual background where it can do some background replacement. You can put an image in there or just do like a green screen type thing. So then you can have, you know, just yourself in front of the game without having to have a background at all. That's in beta at the moment. I haven't been able to get it working, but they have said that there's going to be updates to make sure that that works for everyone soon. So loads of different features, loads of things that can be controlled by the software. And I really can't emphasize enough how important it is that all of this is being done using the AI software on the camera. So if you're streaming from one PC and you've got your game running, you're trying to render your stream and everything like that, this isn't going to use extra resources. You've got all of these extra features, all of these, you know, quite high level features without having to add to your processor load, which is absolutely huge. So overall, I'm really impressed with the OBSBOT Meet 4K. It is a tiny little webcam. It's not that expensive. It's £159 on Amazon right now. Apparently it's $199 in the US. There's a link in the description below if you want to check it out. But a massive thanks to them for sponsoring this video and for sending me one of these. Like, I know this is a sponsored video. You're going to expect me to say nice things about it, but I genuinely am going to make this a part of my streaming setup. I think I'm going to use this as my second camera and my traveling camera when I'm going around and, you know, at COD Next and I'm streaming from a hotel room. I'm definitely going to be using it then. This stand in particular, absolutely amazing, and having a magnetic base on this, I'm just super impressed with this thing. I think it is a lot of fun. If you've got any questions about it, if you want to know any more about it, let me know in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer it. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.